I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
This guy's either gonna think, here's another kid with a fake ID, or here's McLovin, the 25-year-old Hawaiian organ donor. Okay, so what's it gonna be?
I am McLovin.
Hello?
Why don't you want to talk to me?
Who is this?
You tell me your name, I'll tell you mine.
You're in big trouble, though, pal. I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast.
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
Shut up!
Cursing the heavens in futility.
No, I'm not. I'm cursing you, you stupid boy, so shut up and leave me alone!
Hey, welcome back to the J&Z podcast. This is episode 14.
14. I cannot believe that.
That blows my mind.
14 weeks. I could have learned a new language in 14 weeks.
We could have done a lot of things. I could have done sit-ups, push-ups, went to the gym, anything. So I'm really excited for this week because we have another guest on.
We do.
Another really close friend of mine named Timber.
Mr. Timber.
Yes, you heard that correctly. Timber, like the tree falling or the Pitbull song. A lot of references I'm sure we'll talk about here in a second. But like I normally do, I like to share a story about the guest coming on. This one's kind of short, but it's something I probably think about on a weekly basis, I would say. So Timber used to live next to a university on campus. Pretty close, I would say.
Won't say any names.
Yeah. Yeah, his exact address, if you're listening closely.
And social.
Yeah.
I got 2 of those.
Just in case. So we were partying at his house one night, and we were playing beer pong. And in the way, it's set up very much like a university house you would think it would be, where like there's a front yard, we usually hang out in the front yard, and there was a lot of stuff happening. And so we're drinking all of these cans of beer, and we're just leaving them on the ground. Like, I'm like, Timber, do you want me to like, do you have like a trash can I can put it there? Like, he's like, no, just put it on the ground. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. So there's like the yard is just littered with just like cans of beer. I mean, probably like 50, 60. And so the night's coming to an end. I'm getting ready to go to sleep. We're all like sleeping at his house. And I'm like, do you want me to like stay later in the morning to help you like pick up around the house? And Timber's like, it's the coolest magic trick you'll ever see. He's like, you go to sleep, you wake up, and all the cans are gone. And my drunk mind was like, really? And I just shit you not, we woke up in the morning, nothing.
Wow.
Not a single can. And then I look at Timber and he goes, magic. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, our guest, Timber.
Yay!
Welcome to the podcast.
Woo! Thank you.
So, Timber, the first question I want to ask you is, what movie did you choose to review this week?
Star Wars, actually.
Oh, shit.
Oh, my God. I forgot
You
to...
watched that
No.
movie?
Let me go. I got to go.
It's Stranger Than Fiction.
So, Stranger Than Fiction, that has Will Ferrell.
Mm-hmm.
Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Yep.
Ugh.
Dustin Hoffman.
That's not often yet.
Emma Thompson.
Yep.
She is the author.
And Queen Latifah.
Queen Latifah.
On the TV. So, why? So, I asked you to come on the podcast, and you picked this movie. And I said, why? I said, Timber, I want you to pick a movie that you've seen a ton. What was your reasoning behind the selection of this movie?
This is a movie I hold very dear to my heart. It's my get laid movie.
So is this like Netflix and chill? Like, so okay, this is where I have another question for you because I couldn't find this movie.
I couldn't either.
Anywhere. I
watched it off of a free site. Like, I'm not even kidding. I watched it off of a free site.
I had to go to the dark web to find this movie.
I almost went to the library and checked it out.
I
couldn't go to Blockbuster.
That's why I was so
No.
confused, is because I was like, I literally everything. I looked at Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus.
I did too.
YouTube. I went to YouTube and I was like, can I just buy this movie? And I could not find it anywhere.
No.
And then I think I found the same site that you watched it on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah.
And had to watch it.
I had to like wash my computer with a hose after.
I had to burn it like Mr. Robot.
Yeah. So you must own the movie then?
Yeah. It has the sticker. Given I watch it now on illegal websites, but I don't have a computer that plays DVDs. But it still has the Hollywood Video $5.99.
Oh my God, that's
Wow.
beautiful.
Timber's like, and that's all I could afford. So that's the only movie.
I was like maybe 7.
So was that when the first time you watched it, you were 7?
That's when my parents got it. I don't know why. It was a Will Ferrell movie. My parents like, this is a good movie.
That's the thing, though, and we'll talk about this a bit more. But I want to get to the game that we're gonna play. But
we are about to play the box office game.
guys are.
So Will Ferrell,
Mm-hmm.
big box office name.
Sure.
Like Jim Carrey, Will Ferrell are like right up there with number ones.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, be careful. That's gonna.
He's retired, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I went through and I wrote down the top 10 number one hits of Will Ferrell.
Top
Okay.
10.
Yes.
That's a lot of movies. Okay.
Okay.
All
We
right,
have one
top
pen,
10.
so you are gonna have to share.
You told me I would have brought a pen earlier.
No,
Sorry.
we got pens over there.
Oh, we got pens
Yeah.
over there.
Top 10.
Yeah, it's top
Okay.
10. We could do top 5.
Let's do top 5.
Yeah,
I feel
sure.
like let's do the top 936 Will Ferrell movies shot in the daylight.
Okay. So I'm not gonna say the order I was about to. I was gonna be like number 5. Daddy's Home.
Oh, that's a good Mel Gibson.
Mhm.
Oh no, that's number 2.
That's number 2.
That one's better though, in my opinion.
Anchorman 2. Daddy's Home 2. Elf. And the other guys.
And this is in box office, so it's like
Yes.
it's not like
Wow.
it's
These
not
are-
like after DVD sales.
No, these are number one hits in the box office. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like a cumulative because what surprises me
Yeah.
is that Step Brothers is not on the top 5.
I know.
Yeah.
That's shocking.
This list surprised me.
Yeah, that's really surprising.
Yeah.
Daddy's Home 1 and 2, the best casted person in that whole franchise was John Lithgow.
Oh yeah, him
Yeah.
being the over it. But it's so weird watching
So
him because
good.
then you see him in Dexter and he's such a psychopathic killer where the entire family is just on edge and he's just murdering people. It's like, oh god, dude, you're creepy.
Great actor. Okay, so
Yep, it's we got the other guys, Anchorman 2, Daddy's Home 2, Elf, and Daddy's Home. They are now writing down the titles.
this is hard. Okay, I need
This
two
is just
more.
ASMR of pen writing.
Okay, so it's
Can I have them in order again?
You son
starting
of a
at
bitch.
starting at 5.
You almost caught me. I was like, oh, I'm gonna help Timber. Why?
Okay, I got other guys. Daddy's. Oh, it's gonna be then Daddy's Home.
I have Daddy's Home 1 and 2, Elf and the other guys. What was the other one?
Elf and Anchorman 2.
Anchorman 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Ah,
That's great. Why Anchorman 1 didn't make? I guess like Anchorman is such a good
Yeah.
movie that they would go back to.
wasn't
maybe that it's like a kind of a cult classic too. That's
True.
why 2 did better.
Yeah, Anchorman 1 wasn't even in the top 10. I'm not even kidding you.
Wow.
I'm gonna stick with it. Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna get 1
Mm-hmm.
of the 5. After this, though, I do want to hear the 10.
Yeah.
I'm curious what the top 10
I forgot who won last time with Anthony and you.
are.
With
And
the top
Anthony
5.
definitely won because I got way too hung up on Ice Age 4 being a box office movie. Do not let that happen again.
That was really funny.
That was really frustrating.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I'll go first. I'll go through my top 5, and then Timber, I'll let you go through yours.
Okay.
Okay, so number 1 is
Wrong.
Daddy's Home 2. Daddy's Home 2, looking at Czar's face. That looks right. Stop looking at me like that. Number 2 is Elf. Number 3 is The Other Guys.
Okay.
Also, can we talk about how many Mark Wahlberg is
Yeah.
also in these movies?
Mhm.
Daddy's Home 1 at number 4, and Anchorman 2 at 5.
Okay, hold that. Hold that.
Holding it.
Mr. Timber?
I got other guys. Daddy's Home 2, Elf, Daddy's Home, and then Anchorman 2
Anchorman 2 at 5.
at 5. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So from the number 5
Yeah.
down, the other guys at $170.9 million at the box office. Number 4, Anchorman 2
Damn it.
made $173.6 million at the box office. Number 3, Daddy's Home 2 made $180.6 million.
Okay.
Number 2 is Elf
Yes.
at $223.3 million. And then the number 1 movie at the box office, Daddy's Home, made $242.8 million.
That's crazy. Is it? Do you think because it's like a seasonal movie? Because Elf and that one did the best, and that's technically, isn't it a Christmas movie?
Yeah, they both came out around Christmas.
Well, I know, but isn't it it's a movie about
Yeah.
Christmas? Yeah.
Yeah, it's about Christmas.
That's crazy.
What's wild is, let me give you the other ones. Number 6 was Starsky and Hutch.
That's a really good. He plays. It's a cameo.
Yeah, it's
though.
a cameo role.
Yeah. What's so fun? I love that scene where he's like, "Show me your belly button."
Yeah, show me your belly.
He's like, "No, it's weird." He's like, "Just do it. Just show him your belly button."
show me.
And then
Now roar like a dragon.
Yeah, and he lifts up his shirt. And he's like, "You got a little bit more brown sugar than I do."
It's a great movie.
I have
Great
all the
movie.
brown sugar.
That's my dad's favorite movie of all time. Fun fact.
Do it. Number 7 was Talladega Nights.
That's another great one.
I would have counted that in the top 5.
Yeah.
Just say you like French pancakes. Break it, Pepe Le Pew.
The squirrels in my head are going crazy when he starts playing the jazz music. Number 8, Blades of Glory, made 145.7 million.
I wasn't a huge Blades of Glory fan.
I wasn't either.
This one surprised me. Number 9 was Bewitched.
Okay, Bewitched is actually really cool.
No, that I love that movie, and also there's a lot of people that like the show, so that to me kind of makes sense. It says I think it has the same appeal as Starsky and Hutch does.
And then number 10 was Step Brothers at $128.1
Wow.
million.
I think they've made Step Brothers 2 it'd gross over $1 billion.
Oh yeah.
Oh, probably. I mean, my little brother, he's 11 years old, and the favorite thing to say is I'll walk in his room, he's playing Fortnite or whatever, and I'm like, Jaden, why are you sweating so much? And he's like, oh, I was watching Cops.
I was watching Cops. Not, I'll kill you later, Nimoy.
That is amazing.
But it's so, like, that movie is just so quotable.
I love that
There's
movie.
so much to quote about. Okay, but getting back to Stranger Than Fiction.
Who won, by the way?
I got one.
I got one.
Oh,
Okay.
you both got one.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it was Elf.
It's
We both
tie.
got Elf, right?
Yeah, sure. No,
It's a tie.
I did not.
That's
It was-
fine.
I know I got one.
you read off with Timber goes, well, I have Step Brothers at 1. So Stranger Than Fiction, I had never seen the movie before. Came out in 2006. Is that right?
Yes.
And it's what category do you think this is? It a comedy? Is it a drama?
I would say it's a romantic comedy drama.
Comedy. Yeah. It was funny because, and again, I'm a huge critic. I don't know why I always come in and just shit all over these movies. I really liked it. My biggest gripe about it was probably the soundtrack.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of sounds to it.
Timber, just to quote, Timber's pulling things out
Okay,
of his.
he is pulling out straws. He is pulling out a cylinder.
There's a cylinder on the table.
There's a gun.
Not.
There are
Timber,
cups.
listen, I'll pay you back.
It can be the J&T podcast, Timber. It's okay. Oh my God! And we have
It looks like there's
margarita.
fixings for a margarita.
It's very interesting for our international
yeah, that's
listeners.
tequila. Yeah,
that
wow.
is
Yeah.
tequila.
For
Tequila.
our Belgium listeners,
Yep.
this is a margarita.
Yes.
I don't know if you have them there.
Yes.
By the way, we love Belgium. We're planning on visiting.
We're gonna do a show. Yeah, so I'm sorry.
I'm planning on doing a show. Live audience is going to be 3 of us there.
So while you're working on this, I'll talk a little bit more about the movie. So again, the soundtrack, I wasn't super crazy about it, but you brought up something that's really important earlier when we were downstairs about movies that were coming out at that time.
Especially indie movies, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want me to talk a little bit about
Yeah,
that?
in a second. But it's so funny because you said like an indie movie, and if you like in today's age said the actors and actresses that were in this movie, it does not sound like an indie movie. Like
No.
Queen Latifah, Will Ferrell, Dustin Hoffman,
Emma Thompson.
Maggie Gyllenhaal. Something Gyllenhaal. Yeah.
Something.
Okay, listen. The only reason why I'm not a huge fan of her is because she replaced
Katie Holmes.
Katie Holmes as Rachel in Batman.
If we ever meet her,
I'm gonna go. Do you listen to the J&Z podcast? And she's obviously gonna say no. I'm gonna go. Oh, thank God.
Oh, thank God.
But something about this movie is that the soundtrack is very indie. There's a lot of indie songs, and around that time, it was like Juno was coming out. That had a huge indie soundtrack. Little Miss Sunshine had come out around then,
Right.
and that had a huge indie soundtrack.
Yeah.
So a lot of those movies coming out really did have indie songs that played alongside of it. And yeah, no, some parts of the movie, I was like, okay, this song feels a little out of place.
Yeah.
But I mean, for the most part, I was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like there's only like the one major song of it of the whole movie.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
other than that, it's just like sounds.
Yeah, it's just like in the and I don't want to get into like our favorite scenes quite yet, but there was a couple scenes that like because I now see Will Ferrell as just this like comedic legend.
Yeah.
The parts that I think were supposed to be serious, I laughed.
Oh yeah,
a little
especially
bit.
well, they would also play like really heavy music,
Right.
and all I'd think about is Step Brothers with heavy music, and I just start laughing.
Hey, nay, nay, nay. Yeah, like
Yeah.
that was my problem is it was like you knew the way that they edited it and how it was directed that this was supposed to be a serious scene.
Yeah.
But because it was Will Ferrell, I'm like,
Don't be laughing at my margarita.
I'm having a really hard time taking this seriously. That was my problem. But of
really-
course, it's watched after the fact.
I really wanted to watch the trailer for it to see how it was marketed because it was number 4 at the box office for that year.
Yeah.
Flushed Away made more money. Santa Claus 3 made more money.
Oh, Santa Claus, that has Tim the Toolman Taylor, right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
No, so obviously it was in the top 5, but I do want to hear about like what you like about it so much, Timber. As soon as you're finished making that
this is for us.
beautiful drink.
How funny would it be if
so
Timber came out and
excited.
he just fixed himself a beverage?
Yeah, with 3 glasses.
Left. He goes, yeah, no, that movie sucked ass. I just wanted you guys to watch it.
No, tricked you. Got you, bitch.
Got him. Got it. So
This
yeah,
is amazing. I have never besides having a bartender make a drink, I've never had anyone make
you know what we should do is we should blow
Tequila
out that
for me.
closet, turn it into a wet bar, and then hire Timber as a podcast bartender.
I wonder if there's ever been a podcast bartender. There's got to be.
I don't think. I mean,
There's so
who
many podcasts
are
out
the
there.
most alcoholic people that have a podcast?
Timber is now raising his hand, ladies and gentlemen. Timber is raising his
Yeah.
hand.
The only person I could think of that might have that would be Bert Kreischer.
Yeah.
It's the only person.
Yeah, that's the only person that I think. Because like I watched him on Hot Ones, which is like one of my favorite things of all time.
That's such a good Hot Ones too.
Sean Evans is probably the best interviewee of our generation.
I love
like,
him.
He's amazing. And the best part, he's like, so Bert, he's like, what? Our last question, what could we have done better? Like, is there something we could have done to make it the show more appealing, better? And he goes, just you guys didn't have beer.
Yeah, but I love the way he says it. He's like, he doesn't have beer.
You didn't have beer for me. Yeah.
He's crying.
It was really funny. It was really funny. So, I think, let's talk about I'm sorry, it's really hard to focus because of what Timber's doing.
I just see a knife and I'm like,
I have to cut this lime.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So, favorite scenes from the
The
movie.
tequila podcast.
Yeah. So the scene where he's a tax man, right? He's what's his title? Do you guys remember? It's like a
IRS
internal.
He just says is he works for the revenue.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
the
So
audits.
this is my favorite scene and has my favorite line in it. It's when he goes into her bakery to like audit her, basically, and she's like yelling at him and all that stuff. And my favorite scene is what follows because he goes out and he yells. That's why I like
Yeah.
it. But the one line that I love is where it's like the narrator's voice kicks in, and he's like, blah 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 is infatuated and can't stop staring at her and is imagining what she looks like when she's shaving her legs in the shower and blah blah blah. And then it's like, and he's staring at her breasts, and he's like, just staring,
Just straight oogling at her.
yeah. And she's like, you're looking at my breasts, and he goes, if I did, it's on behalf of the government.
I think she said you're looking at my tits.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that line, I was like, he's like, if I was, it's on behalf of the government.
I love in that scene the fact that everybody points and laughs at him. They're like,
Get bent, taxman.
yeah, taxman. And the one homeless guy follows him and he's like, you're doing your taxes. You're Mr. Taxman.
That's a really good margarita.
Is it? I don't know.
It's really
My
good.
first time.
That was
The
homeless guy.
Everyone
made me
listening,
laugh.
if I don't post an episode next Sunday, I have been poisoned.
We just did The Princess Bride, so I mean, it'd be fitting.
Mm-hmm.
That would be very funny,
Anybody
yeah.
want a peanut?
Oh my god,
That's
that
what I
was the
said.
line.
That's
That was the
fine.
line that
That's the
Jared
line
would
that I said,
say
yeah.
that he had never seen the movie, so he never saw the movie.
I'd never seen the movie, and people would come up to me and they'd always talk about, like, especially one of my coworkers loved this movie. And it's a good movie. I don't blame him, but
Right.
I would talk about it all the time. And finally, he was like, "Have you seen the movie?" And anytime I'm like, "Oh, I haven't seen it," everyone would go,
Oh my god, you haven't seen it?
exactly. And so I would just that one line. They go, "Have you seen The Princess Bride?" And I go, "Anybody want a peanut?" And they go, "Ah."
Yeah.
And then I'd move on. I got on the inside. So that's probably my favorite line.
I forgot.
From the movie,
Sorry, would you
I
make
would say.
salt?
Yes. Salt.
Yeah, like rimmed salt. I forgot
Sure.
to do that. Okay.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
just more from salt in your
Yeah.
mouth.
I turn into a slug and I just start sizzling.
So Timber, walk
Yes.
us through your favorite scene in the movie.
Oh God.
And you can even think about it for a second.
No, I think my all-time favorite scene is to not spill salt all over this place.
Was that the one with Jake Gyllenhaal's?
Maggie Gyllenhaal.
No, like I wouldn't say my favorite scene altogether, but when Dustin Hoffman's interrogating, he was like, how many steps were up there? How many we cut tiles? And he's like slowly doing the calculations of everything else. And he's like, I wasn't doing that. I think that throughout the whole movie is really good, but my all-time favorite scene is when, oh God.
Jerma's like, it's hard because I've actually never seen the movie.
I watched it enough times all the way through.
I'm also making alcohol, so
Yeah. Dustin Hoffman is really, really good, though.
he is really good. I do like that scene though, because it's like, have you ever thought about like Dracula, or like what are the thoughts
Yeah.
going through your head? Have you thought about hurting yourself or others? He's like, no.
No, yeah. Oh, it's not schizophrenia, I promise. Gosh, I think it's a very touching scene. Is where he's running up with flowers.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it is, yeah.
That's so funny because my girlfriend, this morning I went out with my dad and family to go get breakfast, and she said her favorite scene was the flower scene where he's like, yeah, I brought flour, and she's like, flowers?
Yeah.
He's like, flour?
You're a baker.
Yeah, exactly.
I do like the scene, though, where, like, this is, again, where it's supposed to be, like, meaningful, and I just laugh because it's Will Ferrell, and where he's sitting down at the table, and she bakes him cookies and gives him milk. And she's like, dip it in the milk. He's just like... I just laugh. I don't know why.
When I was watching that
I know why,
scene,
but-
I was thinking about it, and I was like, do you think that awoke something in him? Because she yells, like, dip it in the milk. Like, do you think he twitched? Like, he's like, okay, now every woman I'm with, they need to yell at me about cookies and milk.
My mom never did that for me.
Exactly.
It is really... So, the other thing I was going to ask you, because maybe you know this, so the narrator's voice,
Yes.
I feel like it's an iconic voice that she has. Is she in anything else?
Let's see. She was in Nanny McPhee. She's a really famous actress. Keep talking.
Zard's pulling out his phone.
I am pulling up the phone. I'm gonna try to look this up. Really quick.
She has a really great voice, and
I loved her voice in this movie.
it's a real original plot. I feel like, and this is, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but one of the things that I thought would have been really interesting, and I honestly didn't know up until the very end, is that if he actually was going to die.
Yeah.
Don't spoil the movie for everyone, guys.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Doesn't
spoiler
die.
alert. Spoiler
Boo,
alert. Spoiler
boring.
alert.
I don't
It's
know.
been out since 2006. Come on.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah.
Long enough.
So yeah, I don't know. I thought it would have been a cool like end cap if he did actually die. And there of course is a part of the movie where you think he does, but it's like she's typing it, right? And she doesn't finish typing the part where he dies.
She was in Love Actually and a bunch of indie movies.
Yeah, I feel like Love Actually is really famous. I don't think I've seen it before.
Yeah, she was in Cruella. Now I'm just going through her IMDb.
Gorilla.
Sense and Sensibility.
It was
Bunch
good
of
though.
other stuff.
I one of the things I think I shouldn't have done is I tried to stack rank this movie with other Will Ferrell movies.
No.
Which is it's hard because it's like there's another
Tim
drama
Burbaio.
movie he
you're welcome.
does where he
I told you it's gonna lean more to a comedy podcast, not more of a movie review.
It's true. He's doing stuff at a garage sale. You remember that
Kind of
movie?
a garage sale.
Will Ferrell was. Everything Must Go. is the name of the movie.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
And it's like it's not a funny movie.
No.
It's not, or at least it's not meant to be funny. And he's just like I don't really remember the premise, but he like ends up like hanging out with this kid, and, like helping this kid out, and it's like it's the same thing about Jim Carrey. But then again, Jim Carrey has done movies that are really really good, where it's not comedic, like The Truman Show,
Yeah,
which is like there's
That's a
funny
really good
parts
show.
in it, but it's a movie.
I know. The
Like on
alcohol
season
is already
3.
working.
Yeah.
Already working.
But yeah, it's Will Ferrell for me. Did you guys watch that one that just released on Netflix where he was like an EDM DJ?
Eurovision. I haven't seen that
Eurovision,
with
yeah.
Rachel McAdams.
Fucking weird. Really fucking weird movie.
I gotta watch it because he's
feel
got like long hair.
Yeah, it's really weird.
long hair.
I feel like it would be really good. Netflix should have like a warning, like you start the movie and it's like pause briefly. Go into your kitchen and take LSD and return. And then it might be it wasn't bad, but it was like for me it was kind of the same thing as Blades of Glory.
Yeah.
I could not.
I like Blades of Glory.
It's okay. It's all right.
I think part of it though is I like the supporting cast though because it's also got Amy Poehler and Will Arnett as like the sibling.
bad guys.
Yeah, the bad guys.
Will Arnett is hands down one of my favorite actors of all time.
I haven't finished BoJack Horseman, but he's also a really great actor on BoJack Horseman.
Have you guys watched Arrested Development?
Oh yeah, no, he's great as Job.
Yeah, my favorite, my favorite thing of Job is so the main character Jason Bateman falls in love with Job or Will Arnett's girlfriend, but Will Arnett treats his girlfriend like literal garbage, like doesn't like her, doesn't want to be with her, or anything like
awful.
that, and so
So like all my relationships.
right, exactly.
But
so
yeah.
Jason Bateman starts to like make moves on his brother's girlfriend.
Yeah.
But what happens is the girl's Hispanic and speaks Spanish, and she keeps trying to gel Job. She's like, I think I'm in love with your brother. But what she says, she's like, I think I love your hermano, like your hermano. And he doesn't know what that means. And so he goes to Michael, his brother, and he goes, Michael, we got to find this hermano guy. And he says something else. I don't know the exact word. I'm going to butcher it. But he's like, he says something in French. He's like, I love you, Michael. He says something in French. He goes, you know what that means? That's French for brother.
I love him being a magician, and he's like, you probably won $100, but how about 100 pennies? And he literally just throws all of this change at a bunch of people in this business meeting, and they don't even blink. And he's like,
So, Timber, something I'm really curious about, and I'd love for you to talk about more, is you're the only person we've had on the podcast that has brought all of the fixings to make margaritas. I feel like
it's fantastic, by the way.
It's delicious.
We're going to have you on next week and the week after that. And
Moscow mules and gimlets. There
exactly,
you go.
Yeah.
And now there's a standard where every guest needs to bring something.
I sure hope it'd make this cup podcast way better.
Okay. But Timber, this is something that is not unfamiliar to me.
Yes.
Because in the past, you used to do this thing where you
I would kill you.
You would spend copious amounts of money.
Thousands of dollars.
Yes,
Wow.
to make me travel through time. And when I say travel through time, I mean blacking out.
Like Doctor Strange, like...
Exactly. Yeah, when he gets punched
I like
in
to
the
think
chest.
that it's just a clap, just and he just wakes up.
Yeah, there's a story, and then I'd love for you to talk about it. But there was a story in particular where I was out at a bar with Anthony, one of our previous guests.
Great episode, by
The
the way.
previous
Please-
guest.
Please check it out.
Yep, it was great. And I was one of the things I always say is have somebody be my date.
Yes.
And basically what that
I've
means
been your
is-
date a couple times.
Yep. They have to just drink as much as I do. And this was years and years and years ago. But
you say that it's like
it was last week.
it was like maybe 2 years ago.
Well, no,
was
because
right
that
before
was 2020. It was
It
like
was-
20. So it was at least 3 years ago.
It was right before COVID.
Yeah, 2019.
It was like 2020 before Oh yeah, probably 2019.
Yeah.
I lied.
I'm just like it's not as soon as you think it is. But so me and Anthony went out, and Anthony's like, all right, Jared, I guess I'll be your date. I'm like, oh, perfect. And he's like, but we don't have to like black out tonight, right? And I was like, of course not. Of course not. And then we high-fived, woke up on my couch. It was terrifying. But Timber, there's been many an occasion.
Yeah.
Where you
Maxed out 2 credit cards.
Timber,
Wow.
Timber comes to me and he goes, okay, this is called the flux capacitor. And I'm like, no, Timber, that's just a 7 and 7.
No, it always starts out with 2 tequila shots and an AMF. That's when I know
That's my
Jared's
girlfriend's-
along for the ride.
That's my girlfriend's favorite drink, AMF.
AMF.
Oh, yeah.
Well, see, my problem is I grew up with my family. Like, I'm just a nice person in general, so I'm not going to ever say no to you.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like there's a picture of me that I have. There's a blue drink in front of me.
Hey, you holding 2 tequila shots.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, you don't remember that at all. There's no way.
Who is that person? That's not me.
That's not me. Yeah, 2019 Jared is very different than a 2022 Jared.
I mean, 2019 feels like an entirely different world.
So what was your experience like, though?
Oh, it was fun. Like adult babysitting for drunk people. It's great.
I feel like that's not people's typical experience with that.
It's just so much fun because it's just like you get into so much mischief. It's just like, no, Jared, don't pee in that bush.
I do like to run a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. You also like to go.
Oh, and my absolute favorite is when Jared gets too drunk, he refuses to move any body part.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like walking.
He's just like,
I think we were out at someone's house and Jared went limp on us.
Yep.
And I had to carry, I think it was me and you.
Yep.
Had to carry him, and one of our friends was telling a story, and it was like a haunted story.
Oh, Boz. Yeah,
Yeah,
Boz.
Boz. And Jared looks at me because they were talking about like ghosts and stuff. And Jared goes, Game of Thrones. It's just like Game of Thrones. And I was like, no, it's not. This is nothing to do. This is like
He was
modern.
telling some random story, and then he was like, he mentioned something about a dragon, just completely out of context. And I went, Game of Thrones.
And you went limp. You had been eating watermelon soaked in tequila.
Oh.
That's Nathan's fault.
Oh my
You
god.
ate so many pieces.
Here's the worst part is Nathan took a watermelon, cut a hole in it, and then you'd think like, okay, he put in like maybe like
Oh, God.
like a night like Don Julio.
It
or
was the bottom
he took
shelf.
Jose Cuervo and just like whole fucked this
God.
watermelon as he put in that, and then like you would eat it and you're like, oh, it's gonna be like water flavored tequila. It was like if you could just
Water
chew,
flavored, yeah.
Yeah, it
Water,
was,
yeah, watermelon flavored. It'd be like if you could just chew tequila. But then I remember vividly later that night on my birthday, just eating slices of it.
Yeah.
And I knew it was bad because I'm sitting there just like cleaning it dry. And I remember who it was. Somebody walked past and grabbed a slice to eat with me, and they went. As I'm just.
See, my absolute favorite of that night, you're like, Timber, we're playing beer pong. While you're also not moving your limbs, you're just like being carried around.
Right.
And Nathan, I go, hey, hand me that bottle of Fireball. And it was a full bottle of Fireball. And I chugged the whole thing. And I leave like this much at the bottom of it. And I was like, why'd you let me do that? And he's like, I didn't let you do anything. You said hand it to me. I'm like, well, it'd be mean for me to just leave this little bit. And I chugged the rest of it. And then I proceeded to get dominated by Jared, who's not moving his arms playing beer pong.
The funny thing about you, Timber, one of my favorite memories of you is we were out at the house on campus, and we were playing Rage Cage.
Oh yeah.
If you're not familiar with Rage Cage, you put a bunch of solo cups around a table, and you try and bounce a ping pong ball into a cup, and you pass it around the table. Yeah. Timber, unfortunately, I actually think you're pretty good at the game, but sometimes you can get ganged up on.
Yep.
And drink a lot.
Well, it was
which
my
isn't
fault.
bad.
It was my fault because I was like, oh, let's put this landmine here, and this last cup is gonna be disgusting.
So Timber did this horrible thing where normally the cups around the table is just light beer, like Corona, Bud Light, something really, really light. But Timber put landmines in there, so it'd be like a little bit of Bud Light, a little bit of Bud Light, a little bit of vodka, a little bit of Bud Light, and it was like we would just have to.
Yeah, it would be like, it wouldn't even be like hard alcohol with beer.
No.
It would just be like. Beer and orange juice. This is a landmine. This is disgusting. Beer and gin. Beer and vodka. Beer and whiskey. This one's just whiskey and tequila.
The unfortunate thing is Timber fell into his own trap.
Yep. And the last one had orange juice, gin, vodka, whiskey, tequila, all the other mixers, lime.
So if you have a weak stomach, you might want to skip this part. But so Timber,
fast forward.
Timber is a man's man, and Timber was not gonna not drink it, and you could see.
The sadness in my eyes, just slowly, I need to get out of here.
And you look into the cup, the center cup that had everything in it, and all I could describe it is there was a chemical reaction that was happening in the cup. Things were curdling, like there's stuff that there shouldn't be. And Timber,
a live cockroach. No,
he just looked at us and just went, and then stared at us. And if you've ever heard the term projectile vomit. I have never seen happen before in person, but it was like a one and done. It was like a sprinkler head. He just went, and then he was done. But it was I don't even think you like had to throw up at that point. It was just like your body just went,
rejecting it.
Yeah, nope, and just you sent it right out.
Yep.
I remember playing on a Friendsgiving. It was like cold and rainy, and every
I
cup
almost
was
got you.
Four Loko.
A Four Loko.
A pumpkin spice Four Loko.
And I was awful at it, and I just remember having to chug back Four Loko, and I was like, "This is one of the worst things I've ever had to go through."
And then you spilled it, and I tried to make you clean it, Zamboni it up on the table.
I forgot about that part.
The best thing.
What are we talking about, Stranger Things?
The best thing about Czar,
you got a Zamboni it.
The best thing about Czar is I have never seen someone consume as much alcohol and be totally fine.
I didn't want to mention this on the podcast, but sometimes there have been people that I'm close to that have been like, yeah, I've rarely seen you drunk. And I don't want to tell them that you've seen me drunk many times. Sometimes I have a good poker face with it. I just don't talk. Or I call you and say, I've been drinking.
That's Czar's tell. Czar, nowadays, he just kind of just folds into himself like a turtle when he's drank a lot.
But are you turtle enough for the Turtle Club?
No. Anything you ask him, you could ask him you could say, how was your day today? You could say, what's your opinion on Stranger Than Fiction? How's it going with the podcast? If Czar has had enough alcohol, whatever you ask him, his response will be, I've been drinking.
True. That's a tell.
And if he says that,
That means I'm gone.
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 He's
I
not
will
he's not
remember.
hammered. He's like he's not with us. He's not in the
Never-
room.
Never blacked out though, so I'm kind of proud of that.
See, I like browning out.
Yeah.
It's just like it's like a mystery game in your own memories. You're like, ooh, did this happen before? No, this gypsy man gave me this.
Yeah, the funny thing about it, because it is horrifying when it happens, but checking your pockets immediately afterwards.
Oh God.
I remember we went to the lake house with Nathan, and I woke up browned out. I was like, well, I kind of remember what happened. I checked my pockets. I had $10 in there. I'm like, that's alarming. And I was like,
At least
Nathan,
it wasn't a human finger.
yeah, true. Yeah. I was like, how did I get $10? And he's like, oh yeah, you somebody bet $10 you wouldn't jump off of the dock fully clothed. And I was like, oh, okay. So that also explains why I'm wearing your clothes.
Yeah.
So Stranger Than Fiction.
Yeah. Bringing it back.
Bring it back.
So
Tangent.
I'm curious what scene you would remove from the movie.
Ooh.
How to take a scene
The
out.
movie's
how to
10
cut
out
it.
of 10 perfect. No, but I think definitely like the psychologist.
Yeah.
I still think that's like a crucial scene because it's like another little good comedy thing. But
Yeah.
I think that scene. Ooh, no, actually, I think him going to the HR guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that one.
Wait, is that the guy that is Buster in
Yes.
Arrested Development?
Yeah. Speaking of, wow, we
Yeah.
fucking weaved our way.
Connected. Yeah.
My favorite thing about that scene is him sitting there daydreaming about Rachel Pascal, the
Right.
lead girl, and the clouds slowly start moving behind him. That is
saw that
just,
on the
I'm like,
trivia.
ooh, that's super cool.
That's a good scene. Yeah. The movie's really, really interesting. And the girl that's narrating it, it's like the way that they
Thompson.
set her up, the set specifically for her office was really ominous to me.
Yeah.
Where it's like it was very bright, it's all white, like there's not a lot of stuff on the wall, and she has a typewriter. Like, I mean, it's 2006, but like,
I loved it. Like
I did too.
I really loved the typewriter. Fuck off, okay?
Her job was to kill people.
I was thinking about that. So how many?
imagine she actually knows that she's doing this.
How much
Yeah.
blood does Stephen King have on his hands?
Oh, so
Oh,
many.
God, yeah.
Pet Cemetery.
Oh God, yeah.
Like, if she's upset about killing people, Stephen King's like, I got another family to kill.
Yeah.
Stephen King gets a phone call. Steven, you're writing a story, but click.
Yeah.
He collects.
Ooh, what is your eye color? Starts collecting on this blood type.
He has an entire wall of obituaries.
Do you happen to be pregnant by chance?
Do you live in Maine?
Yeah,
You have an angry dog.
there's definitely a horror movie out there where she knows she's killing people.
And she's having fun with it.
Well, I'm pretty sure we'll watch that movie in October.
Oh yeah, no.
Oh no! If there's not, we need to make it.
Oh yeah.
I'm okay. I don't.
Come on.
That was actually something that I really did. I've talked about this on the podcast. It's almost weird watching characters and things smoke now, because a lot of the movies and stuff that I've seen come out movie wise or media wise, there's not a whole ton of smoking. So seeing her constantly chain smashing.
She bodies that cigarette at the end though. She beats the shit out of it.
Oh yeah, when she's slamming her hand against the desk
Yeah.
because she's like, I just killed Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
Like, God, what a waste of a Marlboro Red.
My favorite scene, just because of the acting in it, has got to be when he walks in and he's like, well, how's the story? And Dustin Hoffman's like, you got to die.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, man. This is one of the greatest stories I've ever read. And he's like, isn't there any? Nope. Sorry.
Yeah.
You've literally got to die. And Will Ferrell like breaks down, and Dustin Hoffman's straight faced the entire time. And he's like, this is one of the greatest pieces of fiction that's been put out. Like, you have to die in the situation. Like, just seeing both actors like act off of each other. No music was probably my favorite, besides her realizing that the character she wrote was him.
Yeah.
And him
Yeah.
her freaking out about the phone ringing. Like, that as a writer would fuck me up.
Oh,
just,
yeah.
To just be like, there was a knock at a door, hearing the knock and be like, the knock stopped. There's a knock at the door. The knock stopped. Like, her actions and everything, seeing him was my favorite, just because just the acting of it was really, really good.
Well, isn't it like the shortest horror story is like you're the last person on Earth and there's a knock at the door?
Yep.
The end.
Yep,
Ugh.
that is. You are complete.
I'm gonna have to go to sleep with the lights on tonight.
It's the shortest horror story.
It's terrifying.
No, I think that the acting was really good in that scene, and But for me personally, I feel like this movie took a little bit to kind of pick up because I was like, oh, this is kind of like a quirky comedy.
That's
and
what,
then,
yeah, exactly.
And then like I love when he's like crossing off like tragedy, comedy, and he's like, well, my life's a tragedy because I've had so many moments where I've walked in the rain after a really fucking shitty situation. I've walked in the rain from this podcast.
the thing too, though, is it's like what I love about movies, and it's really cheesy, and you probably won't like this, but I love when a movie has a montage. So like at the very end where he's doing all the things
I
that he
like
did,
montages.
where he's like playing the guitar in the shop. I'm like, that's kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Are you a montage guy?
It's part of the movie.
Yeah.
It's my movie.
Tim was like, I could give two shits. Take it out.
I made this movie.
The next thing, can you imagine? He has a cool. He pulls out a typewriter and he goes, "Jared and Czar die." So okay, so you said another movie you were gonna choose was movies we had already reviewed.
Yes.
Another
Another
one.
one.
You were gonna choose John Wick. I don't
I
know
did
why.
too, yeah.
But you had meant you're like, yeah, favorite movie, and I was like, oh, dude. To myself, I was like, I own all the John Wicks on Blu-ray.
I know.
I literally have the barcode at home. I
So-
can watch it anywhere.
Yeah.
Another movie I thought about choosing was The Mummy.
Ooh. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh god, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Oh my god, we might have to have you back just to give me a reason because the Mummy ran on TNT all throughout my childhood.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Brendan Fraser ran throughout my childhood.
Yeah.
George of the Jungle, baby.
Yep.
Yeah. George of the Jungle is probably one of my favorite. But the thing is, like, so The Mummy reminds me a lot of National Treasure.
Stop. You're
Hang on,
wrong.
just hang on. Rewatch it. We'll watch both. There's elements that are very similar.
No, I could see that.
But
I still think you're wrong.
Brendan Fraser is just so. It's a lot better, I guess, because Nicolas Cage just doesn't.
You mean Ghost Rider?
Right, exactly. He's just
I like Nicolas Cage.
I did too.
He's not bad, but it's like anything I see him in, that's just where I associate him with. It's just like he's like, oh god, I slept in this morning. I have to seal the Declaration of Independence. Like
Seriously.
What I like about I know we're talking about the Mummy, but the entire cast of the Mummy is all attractive people. Like the entire cast is like, you all look amazing for your role.
Yeah, especially the Mummy.
Oh yeah, God, that's a movie. How do you pick that movie? That would be a great choice too.
Yeah.
But
You're saying this is a good choice and it's not, but I'm rolling with it. So
I liked the movie, and some like halfway through it, I was thinking about why you picked this movie besides the like, get laid part. It was kind of like, okay, so here's a guy that really is trying to figure out what he wants to do in life. He really hasn't had anything. Now he's met with a circumstance where it's like, oh, I might die by the end of the story. Mm-hmm. I need to figure out what I want to do with my life. I got to figure out, what's really important to me. And so as I was watching it, I was like, maybe for Timber, it's like trying to figure out what's really important to him.
So, and then this is the question I thought for you guys. Is
Go
that
for it.
If someone was narrating your life and writing a story about your life, would it be a comedy or a tragedy?
Tragedy.
I get you. 100% tragedy.
I don't.
No one cares. Czar.
No, go for it, Jared.
Well, now it's a tragedy. I don't know. It's hard for me to say because this is a really cheesy answer, but I feel like there's elements that are a comedy and there's obviously elements that aren't a comedy, and it doesn't really make sense.
So you're saying it's an action movie?
What I'm saying is it's a sci-fi movie. But there's parts.
The xenomorph comes out of my chest.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I can feel that.
Yeah. I don't know. There is parts where, like, obviously we love watching movies because we have a fucking podcast about watching movies.
I would have never guessed.
And so I do this really stupid thing where if I'm going to do something that I'm really excited about or, like, I have been looking forward to, I'll think about, like, what song do I want to listen to when that happens? So it's like...
Can you give an example?
Yeah, like when I bought my house, I was like, oh, what do I want to listen to when I got my house for the first time?
Dirty deeds.
And
done dirt cheap.
Yeah, exactly. It was the song, I forget the name, but I know it has Meth Lab in it. It's
Meth Lab horse, like Meth Lab
yes,
sticker.
Yeah, it's the song from Wolf of Wall Street, where he basically is walking up to the camera and he's talking about how he stole all of the money. And he's like, oh yeah, we opened the share and we had our friends buy it this amount, but then we reopened it and had them buy it a smaller amount. And he's like, but none of that matters. Your question you're asking is, was this legal? Absolutely fucking not. I was like, oh, we should play that song. I don't know, but yeah, I would say mine's hopefully comedy. I don't think it would be like a a tragedy, maybe.
Mine would just be a serious indie film that everybody walks past to go see the new Michael Bay movie.
Transformers 17.
The Rise of the Bumblebee.
This is a question for you, Timber, about movies in general. Do you have a favorite director?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because
Right now it's Taika Waititi.
He's pretty good.
I have no idea what that is.
Jojo Rabbit or the
What We Do in the
Thor:
Shadows.
Love and Thunder. What We Do in the Shadows, yeah.
I love that.
Another one I really like. Oh God, I can't remember his name.
Just give me a hint.
Sounds like give me anything.
The Vitch.
What?
The Vitch.
What'd you call me?
He also did The Nordsman.
Oh, Robert Eggers.
Yes, I couldn't remember his name, but he also like
Lighthouse. I just recently watched Lighthouse with my girlfriend, and it ended, and my girlfriend was like, "I feel weird."
That's how you feel with that
Weird
movie.
fucking movie.
But it's like so good. You're like, this is like shot like
4x3.
Hitchcock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
4x3. Robert Pattinson jerking off to a mermaid figure.
It's so weird, but I love it.
Batman, why are you doing that?
They like get in a farting contest.
Yeah, but it's just two dudes.
Fuck is this movie?
Dude, it's so weird, but it's so
really good.
It's just two dudes stuck on a lighthouse taking care of it, and it's just like, what would you do?
They just spiral into madness of just drinking and farting and jerking off to
And
mermaid
going
statues.
crazy.
Oh, fuck.
It's really every time the lighthouse horn went off, I got chills. Like they would be cleaning and Robert Pattinson was like, "I fucking hate that fucking siren." And every time it happened, I was like, "Ooh."
Ugh.
It's really good.
The top Will Ferrell movie of all time.
How about top Will Ferrell cameo? Because Will Ferrell movie, I think we're all gonna say Step Brothers.
I wouldn't say Step Brothers.
Okay, for that would be Step Brothers, but cameo is Austin Powers.
That's really good.
That was one of the first scenes that made me laugh so hard I cried as a kid when he was trying to get up and he's like, "Okay, I will move my arm."
It's a great.
I will try to stand up. Ah, my leg.
What was even his character's name? Like what?
I think he was Fez guy.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yes, yeah.
If you ask me the question 3 times, I have to answer by the 3rd time.
Didn't have something to do with
Where's
that
Dr.
food
Evil
serum?
hiding?
It's a weird fucking cameo. We already talked about this. I think my favorite cameo is probably Starsky and Hutch. Is probably my favorite.
Yeah.
Like not even when you see him, but when he calls Vince Vaughn and he's like, "The package has been delivered. What are you wearing right now?" He's like, "Oh, I'm in like a button up," and he's like, "What color is it?" He's like, "Oh, fuck you." And
My favorite Will Ferrell cameo is in Eastbound and Down, where he plays this car salesman, this Texas car salesman.
I haven't seen
and
that movie.
He looks at it's a TV show, and he looks at him. He's like, "Every time I sell a car, I feel it in my plums. My plums are hairy with my wife."
all the way down from my chest road down to my ball.
Yeah,
chest fused down to my ball. Front.
My favorite is when they're acting like it's a kid's cartoon, like a kid's show, and everybody has a letter on their shirt, and Will Ferrell has an F on it, and they're like, "It's truck. You got to move the T. All right, Will Ferrell, go to the front. Go to the front." And it immediately it cuts to it's like it breaks it up because it's about to say fuck. He's like, F, 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 and it cuts. He's like, whoa, you can't. Why can't I stand in the front?
Another good cameo of Will Ferrell's is The Office.
Oh, yeah.
Hot take. That's a hot take. I do like one of the first episodes of that series that he's in. I don't really like the end, how it follows up, but I love when they're all in his office playing basketball, that little tiny hoop, and everyone's just like trying to be a yes man to like people please him. And Jim is like, "Can you talk a lot about basketball? Can you actually like dunk on a hoop?" And he goes, "Oh, of course, absolutely." He's like, "We should go downstairs in the warehouse, like I actually do that." And then it ends up he jumps off of something, dunks it, pulls the hoop onto himself, and then dies.
Yeah, no, he breaks his neck because he walks back to the
Oh,
office.
that's true. Yeah,
like
that's- yeah.
3 episodes
That's
later.
right, yeah. He's talking incoherently.
Yeah.
Like, oh, fuck, he's gonna die. But doesn't he end up dying in the end?
I can't remember.
I think so. Yeah.
I personally stopped watching after Michael left.
You
It
should
gets good. You should finish it.
You should
I
finish it
should.
because of Robert
California.
California.
Yeah.
The fucking
Lizard
Lizard
King.
King. You don't even know my name.
I just like that he was Ultron.
Dude, we talked about that with Anthony when we reviewed the Avengers. That was the best thing about that movie was his voice. But he's in another show too on Netflix. The
Blacklist.
Yeah, the Blacklist. Have you watched that?
No, but he plays a villain.
Yeah.
Which he always plays a villain.
Well, his voice is
it's his voice.
It's a really good villain voice.
So this was a question I was thinking about because Emma Thompson being a narrator for Stranger Than Fiction was pretty good. But like if someone could narrate your life, who would you want to have narrate your life?
It have to be one person?
Yeah, and it can't be Morgan Freeman.
God.
Yeah, because everybody chooses Morgan
Everyone
Freeman.
says Morgan Freeman.
I am God.
I'm
I
God.
am Morgan Freeman.
I would like two. If I could choose two.
Okay.
Burt Kreischer and Tom Segura.
Oh, that'd be great.
At the same time.
At the same time, because they'd be bickering back and forth.
That's fun.
That's
Yeah,
a really
it's
good
interesting though,
answer.
because I didn't think about a comedian. I think a comedian would add like a really good element to it.
Chris
Because
Rock.
well, so one of my favorite comedians.
Did you just slap that motherfucker? Just walk up and slap him.
My favorite comedian right now is Theo Vaughn.
I don't think he'd be good narrating because he would just get like, he would just be talking to himself as he's narrating you. He's like, yeah, I remember the time I took acid, I dropped mushrooms. You're like,
Yeah, he
never taken mushrooms in my life.
his observational comedy, it just like tickles my funny bone perfectly. Like I think I've told you both this, but my favorite bit that he did is he was in college and he went to a statistics class. The first thing the professor said is he said, statistically speaking, 2 of you are going to graduate and become sex offenders. And he's like, wow, that's a really insane thing to hear. So he stood up and he said, not it. I heard he was like on somebody else. I think it was a Tiger Belly podcast I was watching him on. I was like, that is so funny.
I would probably choose Samuel L. Jackson
Ooh.
or Michael C. Hall from Dexter.
You know who would also be
Oh, yeah.
really good?
But it'd be so fucking boring. It'd be Czar stood up and got more coffee and then watched more movies and then drank more coffee.
Jonah Hill, I think, would be pretty good too.
Yeah, I could see that. Or like from Wolf on Wall Street, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, it's really cool that he narrates some of that movie because I haven't heard him really narrate anything.
Yeah.
And it sounds great. It sounds really good. I think one of the next movies I want to review, which doesn't have Leonardo DiCaprio, but has, it's not Jonah Hill, but it's Miles Teller and Jonah Hill were in War Dogs, which is why it's making me think of this.
War Dogs
The
is good.
new Top Gun movie. Have
I've
you
heard
guys seen
really
that yet?
good things about it,
I have too, yeah.
especially on my timeline.
Yeah, my mom went and saw it, and they're like, "Oh my god, it was so good." She's like, "It was a good end cap, I guess." She's like, growing up, like through the '80s and all that stuff. Like, it was a nice.
We reviewed Top Gun.
We did, yeah.
That is my least favorite movie.
Wow, why?
The door is right. there.
Okay, guess how many dogfights there has been since, I'm pretty sure it's the Korean War.
How many?
Yes.
7.
0.
Oh. So pretty inaccurate.
Guess how many dogfights have been since 50 years ago?
0.
Ding, ding, ding. A movie based all on dogfights
That's true, yeah.
that hasn't had any since like the Korean War. I'm pretty
Gotcha.
sure.
Gotcha.
Timber's like, some guy on the street told me this, but it has to be
It
true.
was Garrett, actually.
Yeah.
Remember
okay.
Garrett?
No, I don't remember him. So what's funny though about Top Gun, and there's a movie.
I love how we started out talking about Stranger Than Fiction.
I know, and then we moved
yeah.
to something different.
Now we're in Top Gun.
Because I
It's the
think-
alcohol, guys.
Well, I also think the general consensus is none of us disliked this movie.
I just don't like it.
Yeah, I don't
like,
dislike it, but it's not
Stranger Than
like
Fiction. None of us
Oh.
disliked it. I don't think.
no, it's not. But it's not a movie
Give
that I
it.
would
Give me a
come
1 out of
back
10.
to.
What do you think out of a 10?
Oh man.
And this
You
is
go
not like
first.
comparative to
Yeah,
like
you go first.
like
Okay.
Will Ferrell movies. This is like a standalone
Right. Yeah.
rom-com drama.
Yeah, because if it was a Will Ferrell movie, it would be number 1.
I would give it a 6 just because I felt like in the beginning it did start pretty slow. Where it was like, okay, this watch.
Yeah, he's counting
obviously-
brush strokes or
Yeah.
teeth strokes, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like it kind of felt like it didn't know what it wanted to be until the halfway point, where it was like, okay, now things are getting actually really serious with him figuring out there's a voice and everything, and with the character of Emma Thompson, where it's like, oh, I have to finish this book, but I also have to kill a character.
Need another one of those?
I'm okay.
So I would probably give it a 6.
I think for me watching it was like a 4, but then the one scene where his watch malfunctions and then he like sets it ahead.
Okay.
And then the narrator is like, little did he know that this would alter his entire life. I was like, oh, that's cool. But it's interesting though, like, and I told you this before we got on the podcast, that I thought it would have been a better movie if he died.
Yeah, but if you
because like if they went,
that's hard.
It is hard because think about what would have to happen. So like,
see, but like her reasoning behind it, someone who would knows that
she
they're
quoted,
gonna die,
yeah.
and then choose to still go through with it, even though he could change his life, is someone you want to keep around.
That's true. Yeah,
That
I agree with.
I really did too.
It was a great line. I agree with Dustin Hoffman though. He's like,
you should have died.
He's like, this movie's book is okay.
It's okay.
It's
I
okay,
like
I guess. But he's like, oh god, if you kill him, oh, so good.
So now for you, he did 6 out of 10 for you.
So for me, it was like a 4 or 5
Gotcha.
out of 10 until the scene where his watch stopped, and then the narrator was like, "Little did you know, like this was gonna actually cause him to die." Because
and then he starts screaming.
Yeah,
what? Well, I'm gonna die.
Yeah. Well, the thing though that was kind of, and obviously this movie is, I'm not basing it off like a realism perspective, but
I didn't
like
break anything, I promise.
Anytime he screams,
I laugh.
No, but
right?
the extras around him, there's no reaction.
No, they actually did react though because they moved a step away from him.
Yeah, they're like, this crazy dude.
But it's not like, I mean, I feel like there'd be, especially because it's probably based in what, like Chicago or New York or some big city. Like someone would be like, dude, what the fuck? Stop yelling right now. Like,
I don't know. I felt it was pretty realistic them moving away from him while he was yelling.
Don't worry, it is Wednesday.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like, but no one was like scared.
You say 4 or 5 out of 10, and then after that point,
after that, I would say 6. I would say it's a 6. Yeah, 6 out of 10.
I did love the Dustin Hoffman being like, I've taught classes about little did he know. That was really cool.
That scene is super cool because he's like trying to push him out and then closes the door on him. He's like, yeah, they said little did they know, and he's like, I wrote, and he's like literally pushed him out of the door and closed the door in his face.
And seeing the TVs definitely brought me back.
Oh,
like all the box TVs, especially like the one he has in his office. That really brought me back.
Mm-hmm. This is a hot take. I think I would have rated it higher if they had more of a serious actor in the role.
See, and that's the thing is,
who would you cast though?
That's so offended. What would you do?
That's him or Jim Carrey.
That's not at all my selection. It wouldn't be anyone with a comedic. The problem I have with the movie is the fact that on scenes that I think were intended to be very serious, I was laughing at, and so my brain was like,
no, and I
funny,
think that's
weird,
the point of
funny.
the movie, though.
You think so?
I truly do.
I can see that. Yeah,
it's because it's like they casted this guy. It's 2006. He's in SNL. That show's totally not supposed to be taken seriously. He's a comedy all the way through.
He'd already done Elf.
He's already done Elf.
The Step Brothers didn't come out
No,
until
2008.
Yeah, 2008. Yeah.
He's already like put his foot in the comedy game.
He's already done Old School.
But it's just like,
you're crazy.
I like you, but
you're crazy.
They wanted a comedic actor to try to play seriously.
Yeah.
So if they did like someone Jim Carrey, who literally can do dramatic roles just fine, it would have gone too dramatic.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point, though. Is I think I would have liked it more if it was more dramatic.
You're saying the movie has an existential crisis between?
I'm saying I have an existential crisis because I'm like okay, funny. Oh God, why is it serious? Okay, funny. It's like I couldn't envelop myself in it being a dramatic movie until like.
See, that's why I don't like classifying it as a dramatic movie. I do it a rom-com.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would
agree with that.
Is because it's just like, and that's why it's my get laid movie, because no action movie is gonna be, let's give my laid movie. Let's watch Transformers.
I know Tim was like, do you have Die Hard by chance?
No, it's 7 minutes in that movie, and then we're totally making out.
The problem though is like it's not a movie that is easy to follow. I feel like. Because there's very specific things that happen in certain scenes that, like, if you don't watch it, if you like, okay, I guess what I'm thinking about is like you guys are making out. 30 minutes later, you get back to the movie, and she's like, "What the fuck? I have no idea what's going on."
See, and then you get to explain it to her. Like, bear with me. You get to explain it with her.
Okay, let's pretend like we just had sex with Timber.
Okay. Very disappointed.
Okay, yeah. So
finished way too fast. It was way too small.
Yeah. So all
Photoshop was a real thing.
I'm listening. I'm just unsatisfied at the moment.
Yeah. You get to explain it back. Be like, oh, why is this? Why is he bringing her flowers? or that kind of thing. Saying it, I've lasted that long.
Why is
Timber's
it
like, so you're
long?
gonna love this movie and you're gonna watch every second of it.
But
We still got 95 minutes to go.
the movie's only 82 minutes long.
Okay, I have a
80
question for
minutes.
you. You ready?
No.
Okay, things are heating up
Okay.
in the room. The
Yeah,
movie's
on
on
fire.
and let's say we're about to lay, and I look at you and I go, "Do you want to pause it?" What do you say?
Do you pause it?
No, I've seen this movie way too many times to pause it.
The first 7 minutes.
Timber's like, "You think I give a fuck about this movie?"
Who is Will Ferrell's in this movie?
He's like, "Have you seen Stranger
So-
Than Fiction?" Because I haven't.
So I got this idea from my old boss, and I'm
Okay.
not joking you.
Where? Give me more backstory. Where were you working at this
I
time?
was working at a local auto parts store here.
Okay, yeah.
That's exactly what I
Hide
thought.
it. Hide it.
A small family business, a local auto parts store. And my boss is like, Timber, you're a cool kid. I bet you'd get laid more if you had, no joke, I bet you'd get laid more if you had a sex movie. And I go, what the fuck do you mean a sex movie?
Sex movie.
What do
Yes.
you mean? I have plenty of pornos in my house.
And he tells me his get laid movie. And I was like, that doesn't work. And he goes, 100%
Wait,
of the
Wait,
time.
pause.
what movie was
Yes,
it?
what was his movie?
Dazed and Confused.
Cringe.
I love that movie.
He
boring.
said they wouldn't even make it to the car, the GTO. And I don't know if you guys know cars.
Yeah.
But the GTO would come around the corner, which is like 5.5
That's
minutes
like-
into the movie.
Yeah, that's
He's
like
like-
right at the beginning.
That's right at the beginning.
He's
They wouldn't
like-
even make it that
Fucking
far.
kidding
He's like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't even make it this far until she asked me to leave.
Yeah.
That's a great movie. I
Yeah.
love that movie.
Yeah. He said not even 5.5 minutes into the movie, they'd be fully fucking. And I'm just like,
Wow. That's an interesting
Yeah.
choice.
But
So I was just like, oh.
in his mind, he gives all of the credit to Dazed and Confused. Was that his logic?
So if he watches it by himself, he just gets hard.
you know what? I don't think he can get hard anymore.
he's like, we should put on Dazed and Confused. I don't have it. Well, actually, I gotta go because I. Okay, so he was telling you about it. He
Yeah,
was like,
tell me about that.
yeah.
And literally, I went home and I was like, oh, that's okay. And I slept on it for a few weeks. And then I had a girl over and he's like, what movie do you want to watch? And I was like, let's watch Stranger Than Fiction. Have you seen the
Let's
movie?
watch
It's
Dazed and Confused.
Super cute movie. And it's like, it's a dude who's an IRS agent who hears talking in his head. He's not schizophrenic. I promise you that. And
I'm not schizophrenic. I promise you that.
And she's like, oh, that's super cute. And then we started to watch it, and not even halfway through the movie, she was on top of me.
Mm. Yeah, I've never had.
And her name was Jared.
I've never had a specific movie that's never been like my. Oh yeah, no. It's
See, yeah, I just put on a movie that I like,
Wolf on
but
Wall
I don't.
Street.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
nothing's more romantic than Leonardo DiCaprio snorting cocaine out of a woman's ass.
Well, that's the funny thing. It's in my mind, I love everything about that movie. I always forget how the movie starts and how the movie ends. Because I have my girlfriend at the time over when we first met. We're watching Wolf of Wall Street, and yes, the
Name
very
rhymes with banana.
the very opening scene, he has a straw in his nose, and just snorting cocaine out of a girl's ass, and she's like, "Oh, this is your favorite movie?" But then here's the problem: is I'm like, "Oh, it gets better," but then we don't watch the movie, so she does it, and then we're watching the movie again, and it picks up at the scene where he beats her. She's like, "Why do you like this movie?
Why is this your favorite movie?"
He has a drugs
Jared is
problem
secretly a
and
woman
then
beater.
beats his wife. What? And then he gets indicted and goes to jail. I'm like, that's such a good movie.
So when it comes to Will Ferrell, do you think he could do another movie like this?
I would,
do you,
I
Ooh,
would
good
absolutely
question.
love to see him do another dramedy.
Dramedy. I've never heard that before.
comedy / drama?
Yeah. Oh shit, is that what that is?
Yeah, it's not a tragedy.
Well, Timber, it's been a absolutely fantastic
Got
time.
drinks.
I'm
Yes.
imagining I will never be on here again.
No, you will.
You will at some point. I am just. I have to think about really hard how to pronounce words because I have had a lot of tequila.
I have drank as well.
Czar has been drinking.
I've been drinking.
Yeah.
I've been staring at the Batmobile for like 30 minutes.
The camera's over here and Czar's like this.
camera's where?
See,
Yeah.
I've been staring at the
Not
Batmobile
your
too.
camera. Yeah. But I think it was a great movie. I would say at the end of the day, probably not going to watch it again. It was good, but for me, I know, I'm sorry. But Will Ferrell, I just don't think that's his jam. I think that he needs to stick to his guns.
I really like the change of pace though, because a lot of our movies recently have been action, and this
Craption.
this was like a slow down movie, so it was kind of nice to have something that was a little different for the podcast. So I am glad that you picked this movie though, because it gave us a chance to think.
Because otherwise, I wouldn't have watched
See,
it.
the second movie I was gonna pick was The Sisterhood of Traveling Pants.
Never seen it.
I haven't either.
I heard that was really good.
That reminds me of Deadpool making a joke like, "Oh, 2 favorite books: Sisterhood of."
Deadpool would be another good one.
That'd be good.
Okay, well, Timber,
All
thank you
right.
so much for coming on. It's been a great podcast. Thank you so much. We will see you soon.